un centro de paz y seguridad, de oportunidades y prosperidad. Y los electores nos preguntarán si hemos elegido el camino adecuado. ¿Hemos escuchado las preocupaciones de los ciudadanos? ¿Hemos hecho las elecciones que tenemos que hacer y aplicado las reformas que tenemos que aplicar? Y sobre todo, vimos que el crecimiento económico sostenible es la primera prioridad para dar respuesta al resto de retos. Este momento político
idag, trots att vi vet att vänstern stoppade återvändandedirektivet från att beslutas som en del av migrationspakten under förra mandatperioden. Subsidiaritetsprinciper respekteras inte. Ni vill syssla med bostadspolitik, hälsopolitik. Ni föreslår fördragsändringar som ni vet att vänstern här kommer att använda för maktöverföringar. Det är en grön vänsteragenda som vi hörde idag med politisk detaljstyrning, och då kan inte vi rösta annat än nej till er idag. Tack.
Thank you. Now, João Coutinho de Figueiredo, 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam President of the European Parliament, dear Roberta, Frau von der Leyen, distinguished guests, fellow MEPs. Today we are not choosing only a President of the European Commission and its political guidelines. I think we are actually choosing a destination and a path to that destination. We are choosing where we want Europe to be in 5 years' time, and we are choosing what measures will take us there. Because in 5 years' time, we will be held to account by our voters, and we'll have to tell them if we've chose the right destination, if Europe will once again be the beacon of freedom in the world, if Europe will be again a haven of peace and security, or the land of opportunity and prosperity. And they will ask us if we chose the right path. Did we hear the legitimate concerns of our citizens? Did we make up the difficult choices that we have to make and the difficult reforms that we have to make to meet these concerns? And did we recognize, above all, that sustainable economic growth is the first priority in order to provide resources to meet all other challenges? These political times give us, all of us, and it's
1 minute.
The rule of law is the glue that binds our union together. Those are your words, Madam von der Leyen. So why is it that in your eyes some people are more equal in law than others? Why is it that human rights are applicable in some conflicts but not others? Why are the lives of Palestinians not worthy of the same human rights, the same international law? On the world stage to the European Union. There has been no sanctions, no suspension of trade. In fact, EU money and arms continues to flow to Israel. 40,000 civilians slaughtered, children burned alive in their tents, and still no consequences. Colleagues, today, say no to genocide and say no to von der Leyen.
I give the floor next to Christina Anderson. 1 minute.
Thank you, Frau von der Leyen. Sie sind eine Schande für jede Demokratie. Ihre 5 Jahre waren mehr als genug. Green Deal, Fit for 55, diese ganzen Programme, sie richten das Leben der Bürger in der EU in Grund und Boden. Deindustrialisierung, Preisexplosion, Abschaffung von Freiheit, Demokratie, Zensur und Schikane der Bürger. Das ist Ihre Politik, Frau von der Leyen. Schämen Sie sich. Schämen Sie sich. Mit Ihrem Pfizer-Duzfreund handelten Sie einen milliardenschweren Vertrag aus, der für ein Produkt, der im besten Fall nutzlos, im schlimmsten Fall schädlich, in nicht wenigen Fällen gar tödlich endete. Nochmal, Sie sollten sich was schämen. Erst vorgestern verurteilte der EuGH, Sie hätten die Inhalte der Impfstoffverträge nicht geheim halten dürfen. Gegen Sie laufen mehrere Ermittlungsverfahren wegen Korruption. Hätten Sie auch nur einen Funken Anstand im Leib, dann würden Sie erst gar nicht mehr kandidieren.
Priorytet, jako zadanie, jako oczekiwanie. I chciałbym, żebyśmy w tym zadaniu byli zjednoczeni, bo wrogowie bez silnej Europy nie śpią. Oni są obecni także na tej sali. Bądźmy zdeterminowani, by Europa była bezpieczniejsza dzięki naszej dobrej współpracy.
emphasize the need for better policies allowing Europe to remain an economic leader, competitive with a strong industry, dynamic SMEs, and an adequate budget for the challenges we face. And we believe we can actively contribute to that. Last but not least, we need more support for farmers, rural areas, and local investment. Equal pay for equal work also means fair subsidies for our farmers, while the cohesion policy for better living conditions, and we believe we can work with you in doing that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
En sus 5 años han entrado en España más de 230 inmigrantes ilegales y no han venido por casualidad, sino porque les llaman. El problema lo han provocado y acelerado y su única solución ha impulsado y ejecutado el Pacto Verde. Multinacionales y miseria para las clases medias. Con la excusa de proteger el medio ambiente han ejecutado un plan de despidos masivo. Mientras se asfixia nuestro campo y se obliga a los agricultores a manifestarse por miseria, solo el año pasado Bruselas dio más de 600 millones de euros al campo marroquí, que nos ha traído tomate que supera las exportaciones españolas y 47 alertas sanitarias. En sus 5 años, ustedes han puesto en riesgo la seguridad y la soberanía alimentaria de España. Y, por último, he sido cómplice de todos los atropellos de Pedro Sánchez contra la libertad de los españoles, la independencia judicial y el Estado de Derecho, a cambio de sus votos en el Consejo. Hasta en lo de la corrupción y la falta de transparencia parecen hermanos gemelos. Miren, no tenemos ni un solo motivo para votarle, pero es evidente que populares, socialistas y verdes la van a sostener hasta el hundimiento. Gracias.
Thank you. Next, Siegfried Mureşan, 1.5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, President von der Leyen, dear colleagues, the world is looking at us today. This is why I say, let us rise to our task today. Today is a day to put differences aside. Today is a day to be united and aware of our responsibility. Today, we need to defend Europe from those who take their orders from Moscow and Beijing. And with Ursula von der Leyen, we have a candidate ready to serve Europe, and we have a programme which reflects the priorities of all those who believe in a strong and united European Union. With Ursula von der Leyen, Europe is today safer within its borders than we were 5 years ago. We do not depend on Russia for our energy anymore. We are stronger and more independent. We are greener, more digital, and more competitive. We are more modern, and we will continue to invest more in research and innovation, as we have heard today. To continue delivering for the citizens of Europe, we need to strengthen our union and its tools. One of the most important tools that we have is the budget of the European Union, and I would like to highlight the strategic importance of the upcoming Commission proposal for the budget of the European Union post-2027. This should preserve the basic architecture and take fully account the Parliament's view. The budget is our main investment tool. It has to be protected and strengthened. And to ensure predictability, we need only respect European values. This is why, dear colleagues, I say today, if we ask people to believe in
commitments towards European citizens would be respected. And today we learned about your programme for the next mandate. We welcome the steps that were taken to come closer to our agenda: employment, housing, and green and digital transitions. We can recognise our flagship policies here, but we have high expectations. Europeans have high expectations for the next 5 years. On top of ecological green pact, we need more of a social pact. We need, in addition to regular migration, more humanism. We also need peace for Israel and Palestine, as well as peace for Ukraine. We will not let down or falter on our commitments, but that challenge begins today. And we will be following very closely your actions in the next few years. So our support is a message of hope, but also a call for responsibility to make this Europe a reality. Thank you.
Quite a lot behind time. We'll see where we arrive to in 5 minutes. Łukasz Kochut first.
Bardzo się cieszę, że zdecydowałaś.
Madam President, I'm very happy you wanted to be a candidate for the President of the European Commission again. In this term of office, we will be speaking incessantly about security. Our main task will be to secure the sky above the houses of Europeans and secure peace. But I'd like to pay attention to other aspects. We need to prolong the time to use Next Generation EU funds. Local government activists, not only from Poland, talk about this, and I think prolonging by 2 years the application of those funds would be a good solution. Second of all, protection of minority languages and minority communities. It's time to go back to that project, because still in Europe there are communities like my own, Silesian, that need protection from Europe. And third of all, notification of the social contract, transformation, remembering about humans and the European industry.
Predsednica, zadnjih 5 let ni bilo lahkih. Mandat je bil zaznamovan s krizami, vojno na evropskih tleh, covidom, kot tudi naravnimi.
Well, there's not been easy over. It's been a very difficult 5-year period. We need to make sure we focus on our successful outcomes as well. We have Schengen, you didn't mention that. We also have the rule of law. You didn't speak about internal borders of the European Union. Measures have not been taken as they should have been. You apply certain rules, but there are double standards. They're not always applied in the same way. In Gaza, you don't respect the rules. You look at what you do. When it comes to refugees, when you look at the UN agencies, when we talk about the thousands of Palestinian victims, we're witnessing a genocide. What measures do you think should be taken? You talk about supporting the Palestinian Authority, but how are we moving forward?
Presidenta von der Leyen, non l'ho votata.
Mrs. von der Leyen, I didn't vote for you 5 years ago. And having heard you, I will state again that I won't vote for you. I mean, you shouldn't just say that you have been the protagonist of 5 years of disaster. You keep talking about the future. We will do, but, you know, 5 years, the citizens have already judged you. We want something that is closer to reality, less ideology, and less of what we had over the last 5 years, disastrous policies. The new Green Deal would just put a lot of production centres in crisis. So a logic of building these bunkers, you have failed, Madam von der Leyen. You're not the answer to the problems of Europe. I think you are the cause of these problems.
Anna Zalewska.
Anna Zalewska. Madam President, dear colleagues, Madam Commissioner, you did not speak the truth. You are saying it's good and it's going to get better. No, it's bad and it's going to get worse. The EU is in an economic crisis, and it's not only because of the pandemic and the war, but also ideological policy of the European Commission, who, without any calculations, take decisions on ambitions and indicators. You are talking about 90% of emission cuts by 2040, despite the fact that the European Environment Agency is informing you that the objectives for 2030 are impossible to achieve. The cost of living for citizens, for Europeans, is rising. You do not deserve to be the president. And after the court decides, you should give up your candidature. Thank you.
Madame la Présidente, les faits sont là.
Madam President, the facts are right here. You were the first President of the European Commission to have been pro-environmentalist, and you were the first person to truly defend a climate transition for our children's future and our grandchildren's future, and I thank you for that. We should all thank you for that. Right from the start of your term, when you made your commitment, you put into place a huge environmental project. I'm thinking about the Green Deal, the farm-to-fork strategy, the CO2 and pesticide use reduction targets, but also biodiversity protection and so many others. Now, those ambitions were lowered subsequently, and those issues were largely absent from the election campaign. So my question is clear, Ms. von der Leyen. Will you be as ambitious as you were 5 years ago? What can you do to catch up the time that's been lost so that future generations can live and inhabit a healthy planet?
She's not here? Okay, then we close. Is she there? Okay. Marie Toussaint. No. Okay. Then we close. And I give the floor to Madame von der Leyen.
Thank you, Madam President, honourable members. I want to thank you for this debate. And I also want to thank you for the very rich dialogue we had in the last 2 weeks. And I want to address all those who are pro-European, pro-Ukraine, and pro-rule of law. We may certainly not agree on everything, but we should all agree that Europe is stronger when we bridge our differences and when we join forces. Whether you have been a member of parliament for long, or this has perhaps been the first debate in this hemicycle, the people of Europe have chosen you to be their voice. They have entrusted you with their hopes, their daily fights, their aspirations, and you have brought them here in this house that holds together our union, our home. And I've listened to you today, but of course also in the last weeks since the elections. We had many, many encounters. Now, I gave a long speech, a very long speech. I know this was a lot. If I would try to answer in detail to all the questions, I would have to hold at least this speech again, longer. But why don't we give each other a bit more time to discuss that? And what I've done is I put all these topics in the political guidelines. So there you find many, many of the answers to the questions that you have posed to me. And if you give me your trust, I would be honored to turn all these actions into reality together with you. So therefore, thank you very much for the rich debate. I hope to have your trust and confidence for the next years. Long live Europe. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the debate is closed, dear colleagues, and we resume for the vote at 1 p.m.